Sigrika is the brand new character running right now in version 3.2 of Wuthering Waves, and alongside her is her best in slot teammate QiuYuan, also running here in version 3.2. And so today we are going to get into all things Sigrika and QiuYuan. It's time to talk a lot about echoes, my friends. So welcome back to Wuthering Waifus, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. I'm just kidding. That is not what we do. I'm mocking somebody. Anyways, yeah, we run a little bit more of a ghetto podcast here, don't we? My name is El Prazoman, and I am your host. Let's talk about Wuthering Waves, shall we? Okay, this is exciting. I'm excited about these characters, guys. And full stop, let you guys know, both of these characters are new to me, to my account. So, when we do a little bit of demoing later, you're learning with me, or I'm learning with you, well, however you want to put it. Anyways, let's break down the characters a little bit first here. And we've got Sigrika, who is our new character, new resonator that just dropped about 3 days ago. And she is an arrow gauntlet DPS. Our second gauntlet DPS in a row, as Dr. Luke Herson was also a gauntlet DPS, but Sigrika is far different. Sigrika is the first character since the Lahai region launched to vary from the formula that they had going for the first 4 characters of the region, where they all basically synergize with each other through the tune rupture / tune strain mechanics. And so they went ahead and broke the mold with this one. At first I was not too excited about it, if I'm honest, until I got Sigrika and tested her. And let me tell you, I love this character. She is a lot of fun to play. She is not super easy, if I'm honest. She has quite a long rotation, and I feel like the combos could be easy to screw up. She's not going to be your run-of-the-mill Galbraina button masher type of character. And so someone like me that is a skill issue player is going to have a hard time playing this character perfectly. But if you are able to play her perfectly or you know, close enough, you're going to have a breeze with endgame content. But there are a couple caveats, and you know, we can put caveats down here, shall we? And we'll type those in as we get to them. Why don't we first talk about what she does? So Sigrika as a DPS is unique, well, sort of unique. She's now the 3rd character that we have received in the game that is a DPS that scales off of echo damage, and that basically the entire function of her kit, it revolves around echo damage. This is one of the most difficult unit types to build. In fact, I would say it probably is the most difficult, because it is really the only source of damage that you cannot receive through echo substats. Meaning, in your Sonata set, there is no way to get any type of buffs or increases in damage percentage, any of that kind of stuff. So really, when you are building out your echoes, it's just going to be more important to focus on things like ER and crit stats, because those will still impact your overall performance. But you know where a lot of the damage does end up coming from then, and this is why, unfortunately, our 3 echo skill damage scaling DPS characters all kind of have the same mold. What is it that they really need? I'm sure you already know the answer. It's their signature weapon. Frolova can, of the three of Frolova, Galbrina, and Sigrika's, Frolova I think can get away with it more so than the other two. But Sigrika's, I will say, is probably the most egregious, where for Sigrika, right off the rip, if you do not pull her signature weapon, you're looking at a 30% damage drop off. And that's if we're comparing her signature to other 5-star weapons. And I'm talking about the standard. I didn't bother putting, you know, the standard weapons are accessible for free-to-play players. So I don't think you're using anything outside of these 3 weapons. I don't even bother going to other characters' signature weapons, because I just don't think there are enough situations in anyone's account where they're using other characters' weapons for new characters. I think, and I'm not saying it never happens, but in this game, with the weapon being guaranteed, it's just so rare that you would, you know, it's hard to imagine a scenario where you would wind up with a signature weapon from another character that you're not using. How would you do that? Why would you do that? Especially when you don't know that in the future there may be some character that comes along that synergizes with that weapon. So anyways, these are just stat sticks for you, and her sig weapon just does so much, and we'll pull it up in game. We can do that right now, actually. We'll pull it up in game, and
got a long bucket list. Good thing, huh?
So her sig weapon is going to give you a pretty standard base stat line here that you'll see with the limited 5-star weapons. The 587 attack, 48.6% crit damage, which I believe is the exact same as Galbrina's signature weapon stats. And then the passive is attack increased by 12%, and casting an intro skill or echo skill will grant you 32% echo skill damage amp for 15 seconds. And then when dealing echo skill damage, arrow damage ignores 10% of the target's defense. So that's a really good weapon. And I think to put it in as easy terms, to make the picture as clear and simple to understand as possible, I think with signature weapon and premium team, you're looking at like a top 3 DPS right here. That's in my opinion with limited testing that I've done, but everything is pointing to that. And I'll tell you why in a few minutes, that why it is that I think that. But you're looking at a very, very, very meta character. Without signature weapon or dedicated support, without one of them, well, let's just start with what? Without the signature weapon, even with the dedicated support, you're still looking at about a 30% drop off. I think if you don't have either, then you're looking at probably like close to 50% damage drop off. Now, I have not actually pulled out a calculator and done calcs, and we're still too early on, I think, to have definitive answers there, but it's not good. I can say that. The long and short of it is, it's not good, even if I'm exaggerating it a little bit, or am overestimating a little bit just how big the gap is going to be. And I could be overestimating that, but regardless, it's a huge drop. Probably without the support or the weapon, you're looking at least 40%. That is huge. Earlier on stream tonight, I was talking about how, you know, in a game like Genshin, even the most notorious cases of damage gap between Sig and the next best weapon, still, like, it would probably be Moika, and there are a couple other examples, Skirk maybe, you're still looking at like 10 to 15 at the most percent. And those characters are so good that you can, losing that percentage of damage, you're still clearing most, if not all, endgame content. If you're even a semi or somewhat competent player. So yeah, it's not good. Not a good situation there. As excited as I am about this character, that is not a great situation. So, anyways, that's enough about her weapon. Sonata set, sound of the true name, standard 43311. You are going to want to use Nameless Explorer. You're going to have plenty of those from getting her boss mats. So just go ahead and use one. Don't need to farm anything else. Crit as your 4 cost for sure. Probably crit rate because you're getting, I mean, I'm telling you right now to get her weapon. Like if you're not getting her weapon, don't get the character. Is point blank what I'm telling you. So I'm just going to assume that you're pulling the weapon. If you have pulled the weapon, obviously you have that huge crit damage bump already. You pretty much have to go crit rate here. So I'm just going to put crit rate instead of just putting crit. So we'll just put crit rate. For the 3 cost, you can go ER or attack. I think I did one of each. I can't remember. ER and attack. Yeah, I did one of each. And so far that seems to be working fine. And let's see here. Whoops, my bad. And where are we at? Okay. Yeah. And our key teammates here are gonna be, and I'm just naming a few. Well, really, she only has a few. And so this is the second part of the issue with Sigrika. There's 2 main problems. She needs the weapon. Even with the premium team, she needs the weapon. And the other side of that coin is this one cuts both ways. Even with the signature weapon, she needs the premium team. She just will not quite get the job done. Even with a well invested as a sub DPS sustain, using like an arrow token or fighting a boss with some decreased arrow res or something like that, you're still going to hit a wall. You need a character that is going to tap into the main focus of her kit, echo damage. Standard damage buffs and arrow damage buffs and all that kind of stuff. None of that's going to help here. Gotta have the passive stuff from a weapon, right? And you gotta have the passive stuff from certain characters. And that is how this very, very niche echo skill situation works. So we'll put that here. Echo skill, still very niche, and as a result needs sig weapon and premium team, which is not cheap. QiuYuan is the one that's pretty much mandatory, although if you have Cantarella, you can get away with it. It's not going to be quite as good, but it's still doable. And then Shorekeeper obviously is fantastic for that 3rd and final slot. I do have a question mark with Frolova, although I'm quite sure that it's going to be really good. as like a sort of dual DPS echo damage team with a QiuYuan. Yuan. The reason I think that's going to be good is because Frolova and Galbrena dual DPS echo team is pretty good, and so I without having personally tested it yet, I suspect that it is going to perform very well, but you can check back in with me later. Drop in one of my streams, or maybe I'll make a video about specifically that team and do some testing around that and see how that works. But I suspect it will perform quite well. So yeah, and then we can read a little bit of her forte circuit here. But again, everything scales off of echoes. And while we're at it, I can sort of I can tell you what her rotation is essentially going to be. Let's see. Why don't we just we'll jump around a little bit, but it is a very complex kit. Look at all of that, man. So similar to Galbrena, this is one of the first things to note. When Galbrena, same thing. When other resonators cast echo skills, she will gain Solaskin vitality. And this is going to basically fill up her gauge and allow her to it will unlock the main damage source of her kit. So it says here, so you've got a couple runes that you need to create through basic attacks, or heavy attacks, or basic attacks create them, and then normal attack will consume them. Let's see, how do we get Soul Skin Vitality? When you consume the runes, if she holds at least 30 points of vitality and she has a max of 60, you can consume the 30 points to increase the damage multipliers of the rest of her kit, basically by 50%. So everything kind of stacks on top of each other, and it all starts, the beginning of this chain reaction starts with multiple echoes. And that's why QiuYuan is a necessity. She's not quite as generalist as Galbrena. Galbrena could absolutely shine without QiuYuan. Sigrika, not so much. I tested Sigrika, like I said, dual DPS with Yuno and Shorekeeper in Wiwa using that arrow token, and it was awful. And then I tried with a different token, a more general token. It was still awful. And then I just used her in Wiwa with a very poorly built QiuYuan, where I don't even have the weekly boss mats to completely get him where I want him, and it still performed very, very well. And without optimal combos, it was like my first time using either character. It still turned out really well, and so I think could get a lot better, like a lot better. So I'm very, very optimistic there. So her combos are basically going to be as follows. In general, the premium team, as I said, is going to be Shorekeeper, QiuYuan, and Sigrika. And well, actually, why don't I go over the full rotation after we run down QiuYuan, because we're covering both of them. So for QiuYuan, he debuted alongside Galbrena in 2.7 and was kind of her dedicated support, but a lot of people didn't pull him. They just pulled her, and she has functioned just fine without him. Now it seems like he really was actually made for Sigrika, as they do share the element type, and Sigrika is fucking useless without him. So QiuYuan, also arrow, sword, Sub DPS is not a sustain, just a buffer, and specifically buffing echo damage. For him, Emerald Sentence, he does really want it, but can get away with using Emerald of Genesis. And so for him, for his weapon, Emerald Sentence, it's going to be, I'm pulling it up right now. Okay. I don't have it, so I'm just gonna read it off here. That one, attack. Well, actually, you know what? We can just so we can show you the weapon. We can still come to the banner, right? And look there. Okay. Well, how the fuck do I look at it? Damn it. There we go. Okay. When a heart settles, okay, so it's going to be a crit rate weapon. It says when a heart settles, attack is increased by, attack is increased by 12%. Casting echo skill within 10 seconds. After casting intro skill or basic attack, grants 1 stack of bamboo cleaver, which grants 30% heavy attack damage bonus to the wielder. This effect can be triggered by echoes of the same name once only. Stacking up to 2 times, lasting for 12 seconds. Casting echo skill at max stacks does not reset the duration. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds and ends early if the wielder is switched off the field. Casting intro skill grants 20% echo skill damage bonus to all resonators in the team for 30 seconds. Effects of the same name cannot be stacked. So, yeah. This last part is the part that you're really missing out on for the Sigrika team, or other, Calbrena, Frolova teams. The rest of it is really just buffing him, as he does also scale off of heavy attack. But yeah. So you are sacrificing some damage amp there. There's no question. But it's not as insane as Sigrika. And look, if you already have QiuYuan from 2.7, then you're probably fine. But if you don't and you want to build her premium team, like, you've got to skip a weapon probably somewhere. I mean, unless you're a whale, but if we're just talking about normal people, then you've got to make a sacrifice somewhere. I would say this is probably the place to do it, and because Emerald of Genesis is such a nice stat stick, I think this is the place to do it. He is so good at S0 already for her at S0 R0, so just give him a nice stat stick. He'll do some good personal damage with that weapon, and you'll still get all the benefits of his kit on the team. So that's my 2 cents on that. So the Sonata set situation, you're going to definitely use Law of Harmony, and then you can use Sierra Gale or any arrow set that's going to give you the 2-piece arrow damage bonus. It doesn't have to be Sierra Gale. Same thing as Sigrika 43311. Main echo, just go with the Fenrico. You're again going to be getting that while farming his boss material. I would go probably crit rate, because there is a bonus that you get after what is it? 50%.
Your call. I'm ready.
Let's see if we can find it. Or where is it listed? Here it is. Oh, it's his liberation. So his liberation is going to, for every 1% of his crit over 50%, It will increase the crit damage of all nearby resonators in the team by 2% for 30 seconds up to 30%. So I believe that means up to 30% crit damage. So you want his crit rate to be at least 65%, which I think is very doable. That's quite easy. So because both his weapon and Emerald of Genesis are giving you crit rate.
Got a long bucket list.
So
Your call.
anyways,
I'm ready.
yeah, Law of Harmony is definitely the way to go. I've seen some people suggest like Moonlit Clouds or some other things. This is definitely the way to go. It's just going to grant a big, well, again, this is going to buff his damage more, but also grants that big echo skill. It's going to basically do what his weapon does. So you are still getting some of that through the Sonata set. And again, we're looking for echo damage amp anywhere we can get it, because we can't get it within the substats themselves. So anyways, so maybe now's as good a time as any to break down the full rotation. So basically you're going to start with Shorekeeper, and it's going to be why don't we up here and make it easy here. So Sigrika. So for Shorekeeper is going to start, and you can kind of want to make sure you hit her echo skill, and her echo skill and her resonance skill. If you need to kill time, you can do normals, but really you don't have to. Echo, I don't need echo skill, alt, and then you're going to the outro should be available pretty much instantaneously after that. Certainly after the first rotation, it always is. And so you're gonna outro to QiuYuan. That looks better. Intro Qiu Yuan, and you're gonna do 2 normals. Two normals. Whoops. 2 normals. Echo. Ultimate. And then after the ultimate, you're gonna hold. You're basically gonna hold heavy attack. And so you don't even have to press buttons for the code. You just hold heavy attack, and he will consume all of his stamina to perform a string of attacks while he's in the like ink splash mode, I think it's called, or something like that. I don't think that's what it's called. Something similar to that. And then at the end of that little combo thingy, you're going to hit a skill quickly, and you're going to outro and get into our DPS, who is going to take up the majority of the field time, as the other two actually don't take up much field time at all. Even your sub Qiuan does not take up much. One of the quicker sub DPS combos. So immediately hit the echo, and then you're going to do a couple normals. Let's say 2 to 3, because I what I found was when I was researching this that people were saying 3, but I found that I only had to do 2 a couple times, and then the skill was ready. So you're gonna hit skill, and then heavy. You're gonna hold a heavy attack. Then you're gonna ultimate. Then you're just gonna do 5 normals. And then after that, you're going to have the heavy attack will be glowing. So you'll heavy. And then you will hold skill. And then outro. Back to Shorekeeper, get that enhanced intro. So it's, damn it, it's like the worst place to cut it off. 2, 3 normals. That is so annoying. Why don't we do this? Boom. Okay. Okay, that looks a lot better. So anyways, I'm just gonna show you a quick demo of what they looked like upon my first testing in QiuYuan and then in Tower of Adversity, and then I compared them to my S4 Galbrina, and this is QiuYuan S0, and the Sigrika is only S1 and far outperforms the S4 Galbrina. So yeah, thanks for bearing with me through all that, and let's get into the demo.
Loading. Astral modulation.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold this boy. Mandate calls. Judgment falls. Break like bamboo. I move as the boy.
Greet my friend. Straight to the stars. Fascinate. You're gonna remember this. Oath from the heart. Loading. Iron graft you knew.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold this boy. One strike. To settle it all. Vanish.
Let me
I move as the boy.
greet my friends. Straight to the stars. Leg tunnel. Ordained. Loading. In war with time.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold, your life is mine to take.
Let me
I move as the boy.
greet my friends. This is it. True name. Illuminate. You're gonna remember this. Vow from the soul. Loading. Astral modulation.
Whoa, okay.
What sleeps within
Oops.
bamboo?
Well, hey. We held our own, man. And once I can actually get the optimal combos down, that's going to be a sexy team right there. She has a fucking ridiculous rotation, though. That is a lot to fucking store in your mental Rolodex, dude. Yeah, that was impressive. For, like, QiuYuan's not even fully built. QiuYuan is not using a signature weapon either. He's just using Emerald of Genesis. That was, I'm quite impressed actually by that team.
Gotta go fast.
The difference between that, between having him and not having him for her, I mean, not to mention, like, my Frolova now actually will be good. She goes from mid to, like, really solid, actually. My Galbrena probably becomes one of the best DPS on my account. Yeah. We can see what TOA looks like, but like yeah, color me impressed, dude. That's an impressive team. See if we can make it look this good, that easy in TOA. To be even close to the Imeth team when my Imeth is S4 and my Linné is S4 is pretty crazy. Considering this team, Shorekeeper's S3, but Chewy's S0 R0, Sigrika's S1 R1. Granted, she has a really, really good S1.
Loading. Astral modulation.
In my opinion. Okay, so 2 normals, Echo, Liberation, and then do the heavy attack sequence, Tune Break. And then a skill, then outro, and then Echo, do some normals, heavy, liberation, several normal attacks, heavy, hold skill, and outro.
Vow from the soul. Loading. In war with time.
Okay. 2 normals, Echo, Liberation. I don't know if I did that correctly. Chain of attacks here. Skill and Sigrika. Echo, normals. Skill, heavy, liberation. Normals. Heavy, hold, and blam.
Ordained. Loading. I engraft in you.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold this blade.
Oops, shit.
Mandate calls.
Well, I fucked that up.
False.
too easy, dude. I mean, too easy. That's insane. How much better they, okay. What about if we like, how good is Galbraina gonna be now? Holy shit. Oh, I'm excited.
Loading. Astral modulation.
What sleeps within that moon? Behold this blade. One strike to settle it all. Break like bamboo. Winds howling.
Gotcha.
I move as the blade.
Behave now. Bam. Just a scratch.
No time to lick your wounds.
The hunt ends here.
Time to go.
Fight fire with fire.
Vow from the soul. Loading. Physical damage. Iron graft you knew.
What sleeps within bamboo? Behold this blade. One strike to settle it all.
You can't
I move
escape
as
me.
the blade.
Just a scratch.
No time to lick your wounds.
Recalibrate. The hunt ends here.
I don't know if we got the whatever, doesn't matter. It's just too easy.
Stay calm. Loading war with time.
What sleeps within bamboo? Stop. Behold this blade. Your life is mine to take. Break like bamboo.
Gotcha.
I move as the blade.
We have just a scratch.
No time to lick your wounds.
Bam. Rise from hellfire. I'll show you.
The gates of hell.
Okay, wow, the Sigrika time was way better actually. And the my Galbraina is much well, also Sigrika did get the 10% arrow res reduction. So there could be that, could be the deciding factor. I'd say it's probably about even, but that's still quite impressive. This is a very good unit. This is a very good unit. Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. They both are, you know, being a newcomer to QiuYuan, and he's not fully built yet. I am impressed. Absolutely am impressed. With just a little bit of investment, I think either of these teams can easily clear the most difficult content in the game, and probably at S0 if you are able to even somewhat optimize the combos and are willing to learn. I mean, Sigrika's combo is kind of a long string of inputs and I could see where would be difficult and confusing. It is not a button masher type of character, whereas Galbraina is. So Galbraina is definitely going to be the easier of the two, but I think Sigrika right now appears to potentially have a higher damage ceiling.
Gotta go fast.
I definitely have not had a chance to deep dive into damage calcs, but first impressions, and this is like upon my first day actually fully using either character being QiuYuan and Sigrika, she looks like she's gonna be a beast for sure. So yeah, I'm impressed. Let me know what your thoughts are.